Hello fellow dragons, it's Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming, and I'm lucky enough to bring you another review for another game. I do apologise, it's been a bit of a wait between later videos. I've been busy with other things in my daily lives, as many of us are, but you know, this is what we do. So as I shiver and freeze in my cold room because I need to buy myself an oil fin heater because winter is kicking into Australia and the room I record in is damn cold. But anyway, let's begin. So many games are out there bidding for our money and time. It's my goal here as on my channel to try and find great games that justify your time. To that end, today's game is Tales of the Neon Sea. It's a small indie game that oozes character and dazzles the eyes with its great pixel design and lighting. So, let's dive in and have a closer look. Quick note before we begin, all the footage of the game has been captured from the first chapter, which should eliminate most of the major spoiler parts of the later parts of the game and the ending. If you are interested in the game and you're not sure if you want to play it, I recommend going and playing the demo because the demo is quite good and it covers most of the main game mechanics. So you can sort of get the idea of whether you're going to like it or not. If you don't like adventure games or point and click games, well, you're probably not going to like them at all. But anyway, let's keep on going. So starting with the look of the game, in the opening screen, the entire screen is washed in a neon pink with the two main characters that you play throughout the game, Rex the private detective and the cat William. The overall look is very simplistic, but at the same time the pixel design is very highly detailed. There is a lot of information on the screen every time you look at any parts of this game. It's not that it's so simplistic, it's like it's trying to tell a very detailed story, but at the same time trying to provide it in a minimalistic kind of way. There are many wonderful sequences throughout the game that are all well portrayed and really gives the great information that you want when you're playing a game like this, and the humour and the subtlety that is with each of the animations is really fantastic. I love how they've been portrayed. When you're doing dialogue screens and whatnot, you get a high-res picture of each of the characters in the game, but I really enjoyed this game a lot with that. The visuals are fantastic, it is a joy to play. There are so many things that are happening and everything is sort of moving, and there's always some sort of level of animation and everything. It's fantastically done, and the lighting effects, oh, I so love the lighting effects in this game. There are lighting effects for when you have sirens or police lights and whatnot, and they will actually strobe across the entirety. The little scanner that Rex has in his own eyes as he scans certain objects in the game looks fantastic, and when you do different puzzles in this game, it actually breaks down and becomes a very high-res sort of picture, so you can start to understand and see where you're working in. Now, all this is all fantastic and everything, but there is some problems that come with the entirety of this, and that is that at times the actual level of detail will hide some of the other things that are happening in the game. So some characters are just NPCs walking around, you won't notice them at all, and some characters that are just background characters walking back and forth, you think, oh yeah, they're important, I'm going to follow them, and they mean absolutely nothing. Other times objects will sort of blend into the background if you're not paying attention to the little prompts and whatnot, like a button press or anything like that. And on the other thing about that is that there is a lot of detail in the world, and if you don't explore and constantly press and click, you'll miss them quite quickly. So it's very, very bit of a downside on about that, but at the same time I can see why it was designed that way. It sort of promotes the idea of click on everything and explore. Like if you're a seasoned point and click or adventure game person, this will be standard issue for anyone that plays these kind of games. Overall, I would rate these graphics fantastic because they show off how pixel design can truly portray a story and give an entire interesting narrative the whole way through. Sound-wise, the game is pretty much like the original Monkey Island. There is no voice acting, there is only just music and sound for environment and various actions and whatnot. And I know I'm not really that fussed when people eliminate voices. I can get annoyed when they interpolate the voices with some sort of sound effect that can be annoying or grating over time. But here they've opted for not putting any voice structure whatsoever, and just some minor sound effects here and there for different things when they're happening when people are talking. And like with the cats are meowing, that makes sense to me. But overall, I like how they've approached and done this entire design. It's good and it's very immersive. It just puts you right in the picture of wherever you are. And it's a different world. It's a future world. It's a place that's unknown, and it feels very techno sort of Blade Runner design. But at the same time, there is a lot of tongue-in-cheek, some mild humour here and there, but a very deep sounding story that is orchestrated well by the sounds of the ambient noises, the environmental noises, the sounds that are used for all the different day-to-day different things that are happening, and the music itself, which is at many times the star of the entire show. It is a memorable sort of soundtrack idealism that I would love to hear many times, and it is almost to the point where you would be listening to this and you would know what it is. It's an iconic sort of design almost. The story of the game is pretty simple. You play as Rex, a private detective that has you find yourself at the bad end of a case that's gone wrong, and you're basically going to get killed if you're not careful. At some point you finally sort of solve all your problems at that point, and you are pushed all the way in a flashback sequence to the very beginning of how you got to this point, and that's where the story begins. There are many things in this game that will continue on. There are many sort of sociological sort of debates between humans and robots, and very subtle points at almost racism in the way that people interact with robots. There is the people that sort of accept them, and then there are people that are sort of technophobic against the robots and the possibility, because at this point in the case you are near an election where a robot is standing for election against human competitors. So, it's pretty high-end stuff. And there is cyborgs, there's implants, and there's a whole list of other things that are in this game. And I could cover that, but I don't think I really need to, because it plays off itself. If you think of Blade Runner and then add some humour with it, and you have a fabulous psychic cat, that pretty much sums up the entirety. The one thing that highlights this game highly on my list of games to play is because there are puzzles through this game, and the puzzles, unlike a lot of adventure games that I played in my time period, the puzzles are actually poignant to the places that you're doing. And they're also those shout-back kind of puzzle designs. Like, there is a lock-picking design which takes me straight back to Skyrim and other games that use sort of like the pin method to sort of get all the pins in the right order to unlock a lock. Or there is electrical outlets, and there are a whole lot of sort of niche sort of cameo ideas here and there that are giving nods to different franchises. Like, at one point Rex walks to the bottom of the stairs and there is a door. If you go over there and actually click on the door, even though it doesn't tell you there's an interaction, it will actually tell you there's no wizard under the stairs, and that's straight back to Harry Potter. And there are hundreds of little tiny funny points in this game that all point to it. There are even points in this game where it's almost Space Quest sort of puzzles, but they're not, because unlike the Space Quest puzzles, which you had to literally try every combination until you succeeded, there are solutions through all the game that will show you and tell you how to go overcome puzzles if you're paying attention. And that is where this game is really well designed. It's designed with a kind of narrative puzzle game, but unlike so many of the puzzle games, instead of just giving you a random puzzle or giving you a set puzzle, there is a level of learning how to solve those puzzles. There is a level of trying to find the clues to that puzzle, which I love. It's so great. Another great mechanic on the game is the actual crime investigation thing, which you will do several times in the game, where you sort of come to a crime scene, examine all the clues to get these cogwheels to put together eventually, and solves the crime. And then you get a time-lapsed sort of ghost image of showing you what transpired at the time, and tells you what the story is about, what happened in the crime. And I love how that is designed. It's really good. So overall, Tales of the Neon Sea is a great game. It's interesting, it's well worth a play, and it will take roughly between 7 to 10 hours on your first playthrough. Your mileage may vary depending on your skill level of puzzle solving. And the other thing about this game is that it also has chapter fragments. So when you finish the game, or when you are at different parts of the game, you can actually go back and revisit different chapters in the game and have another shot at them and solve puzzles or find documentations or find things that you want for the achievement's sake, which is fantastic, and I really do enjoy it. So overall, this game's a definite buy from my point of perspective. It has a fantastic game mechanics, it's great puzzles, it's interesting storyline, and super great character development. And I am looking forward to more games from these guys, because this was a hit. This was a hit straight out of the ballpark, because it is fantastic, and I highly recommend having a shot at either demo or just buying the game and trying it out. So otherwise, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate every time you view my videos, and I hope you got what you need to understand about whether this is a good or bad game. Around me are some videos that you can click on, and other than that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, or hit the dislike button, whichever works for you, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye for now.